Hello everyone, good evening and welcome, zooming, everyone here, everyone there, everyone in between. So it covers everyone. Technologically, we just radiate everywhere. In the old days, they talk about the nirvana kayas can manifest 100 times very good, but with modern is, I don't think 100 is nothing really. It's just thousands and thousands and thousands of people can witness this appearance and the teachings that comes with that. Thank you very much. So we're going to do the prayers on page 3. If you are here in the folder, that's a refuge and 4 immeasurables, and then we'll do the Heart Sutra. Which is just by reading Heart Sutra, most Buddhist events starts with it, and that's it, really. Usually all Zen sessions just start with the Heart Sutra, that's it. I don't know what else they do. But in Tibetan tradition, we read Heart Sutra to begin with, and then as if the main teaching comes, So Heart Sutra is the main teaching already. Anyway, let's do this formality. Thank you. Join your hands at the heart, and please include many people, places, and situations. In the name of the teachings that we practice, may we all have the kindness and gentleness to practice with all fellow sentient beings by affirming our refuge and in the Triple Gem and commitment to practice the bodhicitta and 4 immeasurables, right view, and whatnot. Oyenda Buddha Dharma Sanga Aitere Fyuja Laidama Bhavachu Ajevendala Ajare Padavadruve Endabu Dadama Sanga Aitere Fyuja Laidama Bhavachu Ajevendala Ajare Padavadruve Endabu Dadama Sanga Aitere Fyuja Laidama Bhavachu Ajevendala Ajare Padavadruve. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and cause of suffering. May they know a power from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion of those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and cause of suffering. May they know a power from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion of those near and far. May all beings happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. Now we do the Heart Sutra on page 11. Perfection of wisdom is beyond thought and awareness, the mother of victors of 3 times. Thus I have heard at one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on Vulture's Peak, together with the great assembly of Sangas and great assembly Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the Samadhi on the enumeration of the phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Superior Avalokitesha was contemplating on the meaning of the profound perfection of wisdom. He saw that the 5 aggregates also are empty of inherent existence. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to Bodhisattva Mahasattva, the Superior Avalokitesha, how should son or daughter of good lineage to train, who wishes to practice profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, the Superior Avalokiteshvara, said to this to the Venerable Shariputra, Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good lineage wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom should view in this way, that should view correctly those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent existence. Form is emptiness, emptiness of form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, in the same way, all phenomena are merely empty, they are without characteristic. They are not created, they do not cease, they have no impurity, they are not devoid of impurity, they do not decrease and increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no phenomena. There is no element and so forth, up to mind element, up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance and so forth. There is no aging and death, no exhaustion of aging and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no cessation, no power, no exalted wisdom, no attainment and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because Bodhisattvas have no attainment, they depend on and abide on the perfection of wisdom. Because the mind is without obstruction, they are without fear. Having completely passed beyond all error, they go to the completion nirvana. All Buddhas who abide in the 3 times, having relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifestly perfect Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect and complete attainment. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that equals the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all the sufferings. Because it is not false, it should be known as the truth. The mantra of perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Tadyadam gade gade barang gade bara sanga den bodhiso tadyadam gade gade barang gade bara sanga den bodhiso tadyadam gade gade barang gade bara sanga den bodhiso tadyadam gade gade barang gade bara sanga den bodhiso tadyadam gade gade barang gade bara sanga den bodhiso tadyadam gade gade bara sanga den bodhiso tadyadam gade gade barang gade bara sanga den bodhiso tadyadam gade gade bara Sanga den bodhiso, dade danga denga de baranga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dade danga denga de baranga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dade danga denga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dade danga denga de baranga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dade danga denga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dade danga denga de baranga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dade danga denga de baranga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dade danga denga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dada danga denga de barang bara sanga den bodhiso, dada danga denga de baranga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dada danga denga de baranga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dada danga denga de barang bara sanga den bodhiso, dada danga denga de baranga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dada danga denga de bara sanga den bodhiso, dada danga denga de bara sanga den bodhiso. Shariputra, a Bodhisattva, a Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom in that way. Then the Blessed One arose from the Samadhi and said to the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, Superior Avalokiteshvara, well done, well done, well done. One of good lineage, it is just so, one of good lineage is like that. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught it. Even the Tathagatas will rejoice in this. The Blessed One having so spoken, Venerable Shariputra, Bodhisattva the Mahasattva, Superior Avalokitesha, and all that are gathered there, and those in the worlds, gods, humans, demigods, Gandharvas, filled with admiration, praise the words of the Blessed One. So, we are doing the teaching on the 37 factors of enlightenment. 37 factors or conducive factors, meaning necessary requisites for your enlightenment. So, you need the ingredients for even a simple meal. You need all the right ingredients. Not only the right ingredients, but right amount and right sequence. And then you might have a good food. Likewise, to practice the Dharma, you need these 37 factors of enlightenment. There's no excuse for anyone not needing any of this. Everybody needs these 37 compulsory factors. We discussed last week the first four foundation of mindfulness, which corrects the 4 wrong views. Wrong views, thinking unsatisfactory things, impure things as pure, impermanent things as permanent, unreal things as real, and so on. So if you have those 4 foundations, mindfulness body, that your body is but transient collection. It's not a monolithic entity, permanent, stable, strong, unitary thing. It may be growing for a certain number of years, and after that it plateaus, and then it goes down. So that's why I mean the transient collection of things that itself is not of. But therefore one should not see them as a me or mine or pure or desirable. It is actually a bag of undesirable things that are packed together from the skin to the marrows. So being able to meditate on this empowers you to delete your desire and craving for a strong or fit or perfect body, because there is no perfect body. It's only the Rupakayas or the Buddhas are perfect bodies. Our bodies are unfortunately not that kind. The reason why it has to be saying that body is a transient collection is undesirable is because that's the fact. That's the truth. And people are mistakenly thinking it's otherwise. And then craving and desiring and attached to them, and then becoming sad when they're not staying strong or well or pleasant. Then one moans and then one suffers. So the first foundation is mindfulness of body, is to know that. And when you have the foundation, first mindfulness, you don't suffer when the body ages. You don't suffer because someone you love, their condition is deteriorating. That's the nature of all body, not just this body, not just my body. So you have this universalizing ability to correct the wrong view that they are permanent and satisfactory and pure and desirable. They're not. They're only temporarily so, but after a while, it's exactly opposite. So when we say 4 foundation mindfulness, they are the fundamentals. Foundation mind of body and feeling and thoughts and the object. So we covered that last week. I want to repeat today very much. But in order to authenticate your realization, you definitely need to know what those 4 foundation mindfulness is and how they correct the 4 wrong views. Tonight's topic is called 4 right efforts. Now, when I said about the ingredients, not only having the right ingredients, but also sequence, which comes first, which comes second. The 4 right efforts comes second, is the second of the 7 groups. 37 factors are subdivided into 7 groups, and the first group is 4 foundation mindfulness, the second group is 4 right efforts. The 4 right efforts related with 4 foundation mindfulness, it is 4 right effort insofar as keeping those foundation of mindfulness. The effort is put to keep those foundations of mindfulness intact. So, 4 foundation mindfulness followed by 4 right effort. 4 right effort is sometimes also called 4 renunciations. So that pretty much helps us. What does the 4 right effort is? It actually renounces the 4 wrong efforts. 4 wrong efforts. So that's why connotation of renunciation is not, you are not losing something pleasant, but you're renouncing what are the not useful things. It's called path with the right effort, So you are now on the path. You're on the path of the what we call 37 factors on the path of enlightenment. So now you are having become the beginner's path of accumulation. Now you are trying to become the middling path of accumulation. The middling is the person who's a practitioner who has just stepped up a little bit from beginners to the middling. Middling is the kind of intermediate practitioner. Intermediate practitioner who understand the teachings, particularly 4 foundation mindfulness. Now you are putting a lot more effort into making yourself a little bit more disciplined. Because you have not only entered the path, you're walking the path. You've already done the path of beginning, accumulation of beginning level. Now you are going to the intermediate level. And that's why I call the intermediate level needs to put more right effort than that was required or knew how to before. The Buddha asked the monks about what the 4 right efforts are. He says, what are the 4 perfect renunciation or 4 perfect right efforts? And then he provides the answer saying, they are the efforts to refrain from non-virtue, that previously you have not refrained. They are non-virtue, but you have not learned to actually refrain. And the second is abandon existing non-virtuous habits. So therefore, this restraining. The first 2 right efforts to do with restraining non-virtuous. So therefore, it's abandoning, renouncing habits that you have previously not renounced, but that are negative. We can go straight back to thinking the body is pure, feelings are permanent. That kind of wrong kind of thoughts. So previously we hear the teachings, but we never took heed to it. Now we take heed to it so much so that we actually quickly stop our mind, restrain our mind from thinking that this feeling is permanent or that is pleasant or desiring that. You straight away restrain that. This is called the right effort of restraining non-virtue, whether it's physical, verbal, mental, or emotional, whatever the case might be. So that's those that one has never refrained from. Never say we don't refrain from thinking, letting go some issues, Previously, we never had the intention of getting rid of them, even though it's non-virtuous to keep them. We never managed. Now we realize, I need to pick up my effort, improve my effort to refrain what I have not put effort to eradicate the before. So one identify that, and then abandon previously existing non-virtuous habits. So those are non-virtuous habits that we previously had, and when we try to restrain them. And third one is generate virtuous habits that one lacks. Virtuous habit that one lacks. There are virtuous habits, but one hasn't actually taken up those virtuous habits. So it's a practicing. The third and fourth is to practice. The first and second is to reject. So lang dor in Tibetan we call lang dor means adopt, and dor means to drop. First two you drop. Second two you adopt. So if it helps you to remember easily, say adopt and drop. Drop the first two because they are non-virtuous, existing ones and the new ones, and adopt the existing adopt new virtuous deeds that you have not practiced before, and improve and practice those you have done before. Non-virtue so in relation to non-virtues meaning those that are unwholesome deeds of the thoughts. Mainly, it's if you're more practitioner, become more conscious about your thought rather than physical deeds. Beginners always talk about physical behaviors. But a little bit, I was an intermediate practitioner, more minding the thought karma than the physical karma. Because the thought karma is much harder to detect, let alone control and eradicate. Right effort to mind your thoughts. Lots of people mind other people's business, like police there. They're always watching them. So there's lots of people always minding each other. But nobody minds thoughts. So right effort needs to be previously neglected. Once on mind, the non-virtue of the thought, non-virtuous thoughts, is not an area most people are very well adequate enough to know. This is non-virtuous thought of me. This is not right attitude towards my dad. This is really mean towards him. This is unkind even to myself. So when a person is able to discover that he did not previously do, now he realizes the non-virtue of his thoughts. So he now knows he needs to put right effort to drop those thoughts, which he previously didn't even realize that he had those. So as now the practitioner has become intermediate, and not as a beginner, he's now become appalled by his thoughts. So when practitioners become more critical about themselves, it means they have become practitioners. They have put right effort in the practice to the extent of not being. Previously, they didn't have eye for that. They didn't have the mind to cite those non-virtues of their thought, their intent. They only had the non-virtue of citing what physically or verbally say people do it to each other, but they have no way of minding or citing their own thought karma. So therefore, when we say right effort as far as needing to know what attitudes need to be dropped. What opinion is to be dropped? What views? They talk about covetousness, desire, hate, ill will, wrong views. So these are the kind of non-virtues of the thoughts that then one realizes are harder to detect, and even that much too harder to get rid of. But now the meditator, through his practice, he's become a lot more critical of himself. He realized how flawed he is, in mentally speaking. Practitioners have reason to call themselves deluded when they discover it. Most people don't want to call themselves deluded. They think, I know this, I'm above this, I don't make any mistake, that kind of idea. When a person truly becomes practitioner and they put the right effort here, we were referring to right effort of hard to detect, he detects. Because his effort has been now put properly to be able to have a skill that he lacked previously, that is see one's own flaws. Particularly the flaw of the thought karma. The flaw of your body, flaw of your speech, you don't have to even mind very much. People will see it. People will straight away react to your behavior. But your flaw of your thoughts, very few people can read. And so when a practitioner becomes skilled in being able to detect and then drop and restrain those thoughts, and then do the meditation, whether it's prayer, mantra recitation, do the sadhana, whatever you put the right effort in, is slowly causing a dent to that thought behavior. So now you can see your thought is detectable. Because you're putting right effort into your thought, minding your thought. Previously, you're minding your effort into some other areas, which is okay. But now you are improving. Remember, this right effort is but the gradation. There is actually graduation, stage by stage. So even next time, how do you know you have reached that level? Even if somebody is physically or verbally bit rude or bit undiplomatic, but you still know he has a good heart. You should think like this. Amazing. So you don't mind those things because you know the person might have a good motivation to do this. And as a result of that, you do not lose your friendship with that person's outer perceived behavior because you realize your attitudes towards someone's who might be blundering themselves, doing wrong things, but your kindness towards them is much more right effort practice than your resentment toward them, judgment towards them. If you find more judgment to the other people's wrongdoing, then what's the benefit? Where's your right effort? You're just as neurotic as anything. You're easily upsettable. You're impatient. And you don't have kindness. You don't have tolerance. You don't have compassion to fellow flawed sentient beings. So where's your right effort as a practitioner? So we have to see the right effort in terms of not only minding our flaws and thought flaws more easily than previously, but even when people's obvious violence or aggression or whatever that it is, still you have right effort to practice compassion. This is very good. Then you can see. So now your compassion is not a smiley compassion, those PR compassion. This is real compassion where someone's behavior does not solicit any patience, but your compassion is able to practice tolerance towards them and have no judgment, no childish reaction, but you are radiating understanding and compassion towards them. So now you can see the right effort in action. Right effort in action, because needing to practice compassion instead of ill will, instead of judgment, you're dropping the ill will and judgment, you're adopting compassion and forgiveness. Right before your eyes, that you previously would maybe never knew that was going to be a practice. Now, having heard and read the teachings, that is the sort of the next step that your right effort should enable you to do. Now you can see, in spite of that conventional phenomena of perception, but your reaction is not one of the childishness, you didn't lose your temper, you are not angry, you instead develop compassion towards the person. So that is your minding your thought karma. Your right effort of dropping the ill will and judgment and impatience are all adopted. Now, can you witness that? If you witness that, that will make you to the person of intermediate path of accumulation. Why? You're practicing right effort. You would not only you will have such a freshness of the kindness available at your will and where it is needed in the real time, but subsequently you do not have sense of resentment that you practice compassion to them. Why? Because you're not attached to your virtue. See? Previously we perform some miserable virtue, we get attached to them. Now we don't get attached to our virtue. We think our virtue is not independently existing. Our virtue is totally dependent on the existence of Lord sentient beings' unruliness, with which then we can put right effort to practice the compassion and wisdom. Now you can see the right effort. Right effort of adopting the non-existing virtue and improving existing virtue. Improving existing virtue. Compassion, on top of compassion, you have wisdom. Non-existing compassion, existing compassion. Compassion is not kind of sentient being directed compassion. Compassion directed to the objectlessness of it. So you can see the right effort in relation to your own subjective awareness. If you like to see that, of course, you're intellectually familiar with the four foundation mindfulness, but if you are put more effort on top of that, then your effort of realizing the four foundation mindfulness, which is four right views and adopting four noble truths, then it enables you to improve your effort, because right effort means it would have to eradicate the opposite of the right effort, the wrong things. There are listed as many as 20 impediments in practicing the right effort. And in my book, this list is listed. So I wanted to go through these 20 impediments. Impediments are obstacles that are related to the training of the mind and in relation to what one adopts and what one drops. So, when a person who enters into the path, he has to observe certain conduct, and the first impediment is improperly receiving the precepts. Improperly receiving the precepts. That maybe a person has not received them at all, or they received improperly. So, they never adopted. They never adopted. So they never said, "Yes, I will take up these precepts." So meaning right effort means one actually adopt a particular precepts and then starting to try to live according to the receiving of the precept, whether it's Pratimoksha or Bodhisattva or whatever the precept may be. If one hasn't received at all, formally haven't received at all, that's the first impediment. Because one hasn't taken up seriously to receive it, and therefore that is what is not receiving properly, not having received it properly. And even if one did go through a ceremony, one did so with wrong motivation. Fear because you were made to take, because everybody was taking, you also just went and jumped in, that sort of thing. You thought you wouldn't be sort of accepted if you didn't, but you actually didn't have the right intent or motivation to take. So you were maybe coerced into taking the precepts, or fear of it, fear of authority, or because your mother want or your friend want, or something like that. Some people often done it like that. Oh, they didn't know, they didn't realize. So improperly receiving or not receiving correctly the precepts is the first impediment. Second impediment is the slackness of employing the disciplines. So one has to have disciplines that are fairly strict in terms of what one does, when one does, and when one wouldn't do, and things like that. The laxness in applying the discipline of the discipline one has taken. For example, one might one realizes that if you have lapsed once and then you realize you weren't good enough, and then as a result you judge yourself. I can't do this anymore. I can never take a discipline. This discipline too much. So people just have aversion to that, and so the impediment is the almost laxness of the discipline, and then aversion to having to do it. Third is the holding wrong views. Wrong views, meaning that one doesn't believe in the precepts. One thinks this is just imposition by someone. One doesn't have this voluntary acceptance of the precepts as a mature person, and then think that these are not relevant to me. It has not been. I don't believe in them. All of a sudden, you no longer can relate to it. You just decide to think it's wrong. It's not appropriate for me. It's not relevant for me anymore, and therefore one give in to the wrong view, and therefore the right effort doesn't happen because the wrong view impedes you from maintaining the right effort. Fourth is carelessness. Carelessness impediment is if there are some minor transgressions of, say, one who is trying to adopt some virtues, try to drop some non-virtues, that one become very careless. And these impediments are not that some people have, other people don't have. It's not like that. Everybody have this. So the question is that when you're starting to practice that four right effort, you slowly conquer these impediments. Okay, it's not saying, oh, there are people who don't have any of the impediments, therefore right effort. Others will be no. Everybody has these 20 impediments. You slowly cull them down as you go. Yeah. So fourth one is the carelessness, idleness, sometimes sleeping and not watching the time and not knowing when is when to practice and so on and so on. That say you need to do the refuge, or you need to do the revision of the bodhicitta, or you need to list the number of the things that you meant to do, and one is not familiar with them, what they are, and how they're meant to maintain in practice. So, because one is careless, because one didn't know, and therefore it impedes the very practice. The fifth one is wrong motivation. Wrong motivation is that one is seeking as soon as one takes those precepts, you will be going to be holy, and everybody should be just as holy, and they will all behave just as you expect them to be. That one idolizes oneself to improve quickly, and also idolize others to be perfect, because you think they are living by the precepts. So, because of the wrong motivation, and in that one might have certain feeling of if I did this, I will be free from illness, I will have a great respect from people, I will have respect from other people, and that kind of worldly spiritual materialism is the wrong motivation. So it's important to the right effort have to see that as something to be dropped rather than to be adopted. Sixth impediment is the bad behavior, bad existing habit, whatever it is, that are not corrected due to lack of right effort. So say one tend to do a practice a little bit and then pick up and then drop it and then never continue, and then get interested in something else and then drop that again, and so that kind of many false starts, but never maintaining it one. So that is the bad conduct. Everybody has that. It's just a question of how quickly they become good at detecting them and saying, I need to drop this. I don't need quantity of practices. I just need, good conduct of keeping the few and improve the qualities. If one is having lots of interest going on, bad conduct is greedy. One's greedy to do many, many things and then end up not doing any of them well, and you feel all times wasted, so to speak. So bad conduct could be poor time management. It could be just poor time management. Seventh impediment is engaging in wrong livelihood. So, because one is engaging in excessive greedy things, like try to become so greedy in material and mundane possession and positions, one is never contented and grateful with what one has. So because of that, one's time is so consumed by the over-engagement with the wrong livelihood, so much so you don't have the right effort to give yourself the right amount of time to practice, because all your time is taken up by doing all sorts of these things. So you don't have an ability to secure your time for your right effort, and instead your energy is all depleted by engaging in various other mundane, social or distracting activities. So because of that, they have less likely to have a simplicity and contentment, because they're always going after them. And that therefore depletes the person's time, energy, and is tired, exhausted. For the real practice of right effort, is his time poor. Eighth impediment is extreme conduct. The extreme conduct is that whereby one is engaging in certain pseudo-spiritual practices, some certain spiritual practices, adopting some very strong disciplines, maybe like all of a sudden fasting so much, and then you lose so much weight. All of a sudden, within months, it's all back to normal. As an example, extreme from one extreme to the another. So right effort would be make a really slow and steady and improving slowly and better, not from one extreme to another. So that this is talking about extreme conduct. Saying one love this, one hate this, one love this, hate this, not get that kind of thing. One slowly drops something, slowly pick up the thing, and then improve on that, so that his conduct is not extreme. Whether it's what he does, how long he does, how often he does, how frequent he does, is not extreme. In terms of too hard on his body or too extreme to extreme dispensation of his time. Ninth impediment is over expectations. Expectations too high from your even right effort. If you put lots of effort in adopting some good habits and dropping some bad habits, but then you have a lot of over expectation how perfect they should become. So one should not have this strong expectation even from your right discipline. Your right discipline may be a good stretch of time now, but you still have a lot of heavy load of karma from past that may ripen on you. So therefore, all your expectations that you have no past karma, like you could have an over expectation of someone else. You idolize them so much. And when something difficult happens to them, then you can't accept them. You can't see them. They have karma for many lifetimes. They're still a human being. They still have loads and loads of karma to go on. So when we have a lot of over-expectation of ourselves, all our effort of devotion, of friendship is completely or poisoned relationship, because we over-expected them, idolize them, and then we ourselves get disappointed. You can see lots of people putting their effort in the wrong way. People worshipping people, not refuge in the triple gem, for instance. No refuge in the triple gem, but worshipping people, status, name, reputations. That is over expectation of somebody, even though one might think one might spiritual inspiration, but one is investing over expectation in something that is not worthy of that. Buddha said faith in the Dharma is more important. They say rely on the Dharma, not on the person. Because if you expect in the Dharma, sooner or later you will be proven correct. Dharma will never let you down. But if you expect people will not fulfill your expectations. Because they are still human beings. You know very little about them. They are still a samsaric sentient being. And so that's why over expectation, effort, lots of people put lots of effort following people, not the teaching, people always follower of personages. They don't really follow the Dharma. It's incredibly sad, because they always follow with names, positions, status, reputations, people. They actually are not really heeding to the Dharma. That's why disappointment. So all of their right effort can be, I know quite a few people in Southeast Asia, various people. They really worship lamas, and particularly with Rinpoches, and particularly who have historically said from 13th century they are great, or 14th century they are great, whatever, They think being able to host them, being able to be the sponsor them, being able to buy their air ticket is a great honor, and all of that. They're basically pouring their money to do such things. And they do all sorts of things, and they actually are expecting that by becoming sponsors or benefactor, this is amazing individual, they think their wealth will just increase, but actually their wealth is squanderable. Particularly if you offer them, you give them everywhere, then they won't come back. Lamas give you only strings, Some of them don't even have that, They're not prepared even to give the strings, So then they realize they have all these Zambala statues, wealth vases, but their all money is squandered, and then they get disappointed, they lose faith, that sort of thing. Spiritual materialism is called. Because whole efforts are put into worshipping people and spiritual materialism, they never actually heed to the teachings. So we're talking of effort, right effort. It's really important. We're talking about how much energy and faith and expectation we put in things or people or situations, or to your discipline. The one who do not over-expect others will put the investment to their discipline, their own self-discipline, not worshipping and following and expecting something from outside. 10th impediment is almost pretending that you are progressing, like an imposter, even though your practice isn't really improving at all. One may think that one has some qualities, and maybe you're doing quite a lot of things, the right things, and almost feels that I'm special. That kind of spiritual arrogance, because you are trying to put right effort, which reasonably is quite a reasonable improvement from your side, but still one is expecting oneself and thinking one has made so much progress. I'm no longer ordinary. This is the way to practice bodhisattva. I know the only way. I'm the only one who's better with this. That kind of self-superiority of one's own right effort. How do you know that your right effort is right effort? Is even though you have made lots of, still be more humble than before. That is sign of right effort. You never bloat, prideful of your progress. You still feel grateful. You still know it's not sufficient. And always admit your flaws. Always kind to those who have flaws. Previously, he was judgmental. He was really, really harsh on others. He couldn't tolerate people who have faults. Now he's so much compassionate, so forgiving. that shows that he's no longer one who is arrogant of his spirit. He's humble. He sees good in everyone, no matter how many bad or flaws they may have. But he still focuses on the good of other people, because that's what right effort does. Right effort is to adopt the virtues that you lack before, that is seeing good in others, and drop the non-virtue that you have about others, judging other people. So you can actually see how your perception is changing about somebody, even though you think somebody is never changing, but your perception of them is completely changed. This is sign of one is not suffering from spiritual arrogance. The 11th impediment is the attachment to one's spiritual realizations. So one should, one's spiritual realizations is the gift and blessings of the Buddha, not one's possessions, not your hard-earned sort of thing, It's not hard-earned something that is your original thing, So the more, qualities that you have, more humble you become, instead of becoming bloated and become attached to your propriety or to your status. The 12th impediment is to do with the training of meditation, is ill health, So when practitioners spend a lot of time in meditation, even they don't do any meditation, they will experience some form of ill health or aging sometimes. So ill health and aging is impediment. But practitioners usually have aversion to illness. And they might even reduce their quantity or some practices, excusing that they are ill and they are sick and they are old. So practitioners should not be discouraged by ill health. Even in ill health, he should have the right effort. His effort should not be impeded by ill health, if he can. Illness is not avoidable because you're born. It's too late to avoid illness. So next time, don't be born, then you won't have any problem. But this time, it's too late. Illness is unavoidable. So even if you're a practitioner, there's no, Buddha didn't say those who practice Dharma will not get ill. He didn't say that, His monks got really ill. Monks were really disciplined in the precept, but they still could not even attend and sit up. Then Buddha taught them medicine Buddha practice for those who are ill. Then he said, you can practice medicine Buddha as they recover quickly. No, he should get sicker, then it's good for him. Then it will teach him how to exhaust his karma through meditating. Because people say, I cannot practice, I'm ill, I'm old, this is too much, I can't read, it's too sore eye. People do all of that. This is become obstacle for the person who hasn't actually adopted the right effort properly, has not renounced the impeding wrong habits. Shows it very clearly. Just question is not. Question isn't who has and who has an obstacle, but to whom the obstacle is an opportunity, and to whom the obstacle is a discouragement. If obstacle discourages the person has not adopted the right effort. He hasn't renounced the bad habits. He hasn't adopted the new, because he is impedable by the obstacle. Of course, one doesn't mean one instantly can get over all obstacles like that without any hurdle. And that's why, they have 20 hurdles, 20 things they have to jump, 20 things they jumped before they can reach the finishing line. It's not the lack of, it's just how you master and surmount each of them carefully so that they don't impede you. So it's not the lack of obstacles, it's existence of the obstacle, that the obstacles have lifted higher a bar, and even the bar is higher, that it does not discourages you, and then, your illness become cause of practice of Dharma. Incredible. Yeah. Even they huffing and puffing, they're still practicing. Incredible, really. You see them in the communities where they understand Dharma. They do not see that to practice Dharma you have to perfect health. You have to do a fitness test, and then like that. People are already unsatisfactory from the birth. Already are pretty. So one cannot be discourageable by illness. But most people, unfortunately, are. They gave up the practice because they're ill. They couldn't. They discontinued the thing because they got ill. Why? That's the level they are. They could not adopt the new discipline, new right effort to see that illness can become impediment to the extent of discouraging you. Illness should become cause of compassion. That how many years did I enjoy good health? I'm only starting to get ill now. So this is a blessing in a disguise that I have to purify my attachment to health so many years that I enjoyed, but I never appreciated them when they were healthy, and I didn't practice then. Now, when I practice it now, when the illness comes, I think it's not possible. So I should now bury my ego and surrender it to this illness, and not with aversion to the illness, but see the illness is inevitable part of body and birth. So with this in mind, one adopt the right effort. Yeah? Right effort in terms of diligence, joyful effort to meet the illness. That doesn't mean you are not seeking medication or whatever conventional way to ease your pain, but you are not letting the illness to become a cause for you to be spiritually demoralized. But it will. To most people it will, because that's why it's listed as impediment. And 13th impediment is attachment to food and comfort. When one is not able to give up number of food or quantity of food or proportion of food, and the comfort of lying down or not doing anything or doing other things, when I was attached to them, that's called idleness. Nyomle deve ronyang means tasting the flavor of idleness. They're much more easy to indulge in not doing anything, because when they're attached to doing nothing. And comfort, it may be even comforting because they don't have to do anything. They have no responsibility to anybody. They don't have to show anything, as if they are so independent of things. We all have commitment. Bodhisattvic vows try to do a little bit of lifting each day, 6 times or whatever, like practicing generosity 6 times a day, or like that kind of thing. Practice bodhicitta, review bodhicitta at least 6 times a day. All that kind of things. A person who is indulging in comfort and food and association and company of other people, they will not be able to practice the right effort to adopt these habits and drop the bad habits of attachment to food and comfort. That's why at the practice during retreat we have to take precepts of fasting in the afternoon, maybe alternate days, and slowly. One has to do those things. It's not that the food, we're trying to save the food and that sort of thing. The purpose isn't about food. Purpose is about how much right effort we are willing to apply, like the Shakyamuni Buddha under the tree. whether it's in hot or cold or dry or wet, he sat there with strong bodhicitta. This is right effort. Buddha won through enlightenment through right effort, not through attachment to food and comfort and these things. That's why the Drukpa Kunle sang a song when he saw the statue of Shakyamuni Buddha. He says, "Before you and I were equal, but you, due to your right effort, attain enlightenment. I, due to idleness, have still lost in samsara. Now it's my turn to do prostration to you." So he's acknowledging that Shakyamuni Buddha did not indulge in food and comfort and other things. If he did, he would have been just destroyed by them, and he would have nothing to show of, like any other of the forefathers of Shakyamuni. We never know even who the hell they are, because they didn't do anything. They die like pig. Shakyamuni didn't want to waste his life, and then he put right effort and attained enlightenment, because he renounced attachment to food. He renounced attachment to comfort and possession and position and status and all of that. But the ordinary people who don't want to put right effort are losing themselves to food and comfort. It's incredibly obvious. Teaching, therefore, is very, very gently suggesting to take 8 precepts, alternate days on retreat. Even on not on retreat, you try to take precepts on certain days in your life, and you slowly and fast in the afternoons, and dedicate your time to practice. That is just measuring whether you are putting right effort to adopt the good and drop the bad. The 14th impediment is attachment to many activities. That is also an impediment to your meditation. If you have many activities, many things to do, things to meet, things to do, go do, all this, so many things to do, that your worldly activity completely takes over your time. You are completely time poor because you have so many other activities, meditation and other practices. Right effort doesn't happen because you still haven't dropped that hobby, this social activity, that activity. You're not able to reduce your habits. I'm not saying they are non-virtuous necessarily. There are definitely too many activities, so much so that you don't have time to do quality right effort meditation, right effort discipline, right effort realization of bodhicitta, because your time is taken up by all these other activities. People are not free to practice Dharma. And that's the problem. They don't have precious human rebirth. In Tibetan, lack of 8 freedoms. We're supposed to have the freedom because we're not in hell, we're not in hungry ghosts, we're not in animals, we're not in long-life gods, we're not barbarians, hope not. And we are not deaf or mute or intellectually handicapped, and we are not those people who have no faith in the Dharma, So basically, we're all free, but we are not free because we have too many activities. The person has so many things on, but the Dharma is not on. Maybe once a week they can do. Then more than that, they say, no, I don't want to do other things. Yes, what is that? Driving all the way to Melbourne to go to a concert. Yes, with 3 other friends and things like that. And then your time is all taken up. Such activities. Slowly, the time is gone. One day, there's no time to practice. You don't have commitment to practice with your fellow practitioner once a month or once a week. What the hell is this? You being a member of a Sangha? Maybe you practice home well. Maybe that's good enough. But still, others need company. Others need friends. Then we need various people to do various roles. Right effort has to be maintained to keep a Sangha, to keep a community, to keep an organization, for instance. we're talking about right effort in terms of not only individual practices, but also right effort in terms of how much people are willing to give. And a lot of people, you can see it's incredible. The right effort of only a handful of people, these kind of activities are maintained. Don't they have interest to go to orchestra? Don't they have friends to go to visit? No, they deliberately don't do those things in order to allocate their time the more fruitful way to doing. This is what we call right effort. Right effort. Yeah, 15th and impediment is over participation in worldly activities. Yeah. So it means that if a right effort means you have to abandon something, yeah, for renunciation, you have to renounce some worldly activities. And worldly activities, it doesn't mean that you're dismissing the importance of your mother or father or your family duties or filial duties and things. We are not saying that. Surely, there is a definitely a certain commitment to do. The Buddha himself knew how much is a worldly activity impediment to his likelihood of becoming enlightened. He definitely had to sacrifice one or the other. He can't have both. So he knew the worldly activity must go. He wasn't owing and arming and wasting time, going to people seeking advice. He didn't do that. He was completely sure what is worldly activity that is so important to his father, to his wife, to family, to all the thousands of subjects. Everybody thinks he should be the king. But to him, it was a worldly activity. To him, it was a worldly activity, and he was not going to invest any more time. He therefore dropped that worldly activity, the role, the full responsibility of whatever that was. He basically escaped. He basically escaped. It's a renunciation, it's called. Great exit is called. He renounced the worldly activities. Buddha saw the worldly activity. Others thought it's a royal duty. Or fatherly duty or whatever. Buddha thought it was worldly duty. Says how many lifetimes I want to be father. And then I'll be perfect. Or how many lifetimes I'll be a king and then think I'll be doing this. He says, this is enough. It's like a endless worldly activity, like water ripples of the ocean. It will never end by doing them. It only will be, the worldly activities never finish by doing them, but only finish by renouncing them. Yeah. People don't have time, even few times a year, they can't do that. Let alone whole stretch. Like Shakyamuni Buddha, from age 29 onwards, that's it. He never looked back. That is renunciation, worldly activity, right effort. He attained enlightenment through right effort. So did he emphasize before he passed away, practice with diligence. Last words of the Buddha. Practice with the diligence. Practice with the right effort. Yeah, worldly activities. 16th impediment is attachment to conversation. Conversation. Chatting, they call. Chatting online. Chatting with your mom every day, or father every day, or sister every day. Yes, chatting, all this chatting. Even during Buddha's time, they thought chatting was a big obstacle. But look at these days. People are chatting. They thought they were alone. The person is in the room. They're not doing alone. They're just chatting with the people. They're texting with other people. So I think we should call attachment to phone, I think. Modern, I don't think we should call attachment to chatting, attachment to phone, I think the impediment have increased, I think. Impediment has increased since this. Sometimes your phone tell you, yeah? Have you noticed that? Tell you how many hours you spend this week on the phone. It tells you. It's a completely. It shows how uncaring, unthoughtful, unmindful we are with our passage of time. Of course, some good things is also being done on phone in these days. So don't be too harsh. But definitely there is a limit that you have to phone free retreat. Mobile phone free retreat, mobile phone free classrooms. so that the impediment of chatting, impediment of texting does not impede your concentration of whatever you're doing. Quality of, sometimes you can do incredible, isn't it? Like I know through my work, translation, sometimes I can translate pages like this, 4 or 5 pages in an hour, no problem. Other times, not even a half a page. Something is definitely impeding me. Something is definitely impeding me. So right now I'm translating a text because I have to finish before Easter retreat. So I have to put the yoke on my neck. To do. So if I don't give an estimate this much every day, I won't finish. So if I don't put the right effort, nobody will. So this is one has to take the responsibility. So one should not spend doing all this chatting that might be non-virtue by themselves. If there's useful chatting, and of course could be short and sweet. That's it. That's perfectly fine. I had a short conversation with a gentleman today, and he's bringing his nephew to Australia, who's a reincarnation of Deshung Trulku Rinpoche, and so he's now very grown up and trained. This half American Lama. He's in his 30s, and and now he was bringing. He straight away informed me, and I straight away rang him. It was useful chat. So, but not. So we're talking about impediment of wasting time in doing certain things. 17th impediment is attachment doing nothing but lying down. Which people tend to do in solitary retreat, People think they are doing solitary retreat, but they're doing solitary lying down, doing nothing. Some people, they were in the retreat, but they didn't do the retreat. They did something else. They knitted some jumpers. Maybe not doing nothing, but knitting jumpers. Their right effort was robbed by knitting jumpers. They actually practiced. One nun actually told me, she was very honest. She said, Rinpoche, I couldn't be bothered saying those mantras millions. But she said, I did one mantra for each knot of this sweater I knit for you. So cute. Because she was actually knitting a sweater, And she said every knot she knit, she recite one mantra. She didn't do the mala and all of that. She just did the mantra, but did the knitting. And so she was doubly productive, so to speak. And when she gave me not a jumper, but a scarf, a very long scarf. She said that. I never forget that. It's a good way to integrate your practice without being bored and dismiss altogether and not do it at all, So she definitely said, she said, I don't need mala. I need my knitting. So some of the ladies out there can relate to that better, I think. If you want a knitting, but recite one mantra for the benefit of all beings, and one that it's quite good, Instead of doing nothing. And so some of these impediments are to do with meditation, others are to do with the discipline, others to do with wisdom. So I won't go into that here. The 18th impediment is listening to bad friends. Listening to bad friends, yeah. If you a lot of people's right effort, they may have put lots of effort study, practicing, but once they become exposed and lend their ears to some bad friends whose information, whose intent of sharing you, talking to you is completely destructive and poisonous, that can completely rob your faith and discipline, belief, and meditation. And wrong doctrine too, because they give you a book, they give you, you should practice Buddhism without belief or something like that. Oh yes, there are lots of people who doesn't want to practice Buddhism with a belief. They want to practice Buddhism without belief. It's bad friends, really. They're influencing you. You have to have refuge. You have to have bodhicitta. You have to believe in the law of karma. And if you don't do that, what kind of Buddhist is that? So some people can influence you in a way that your right effort was completely gone by listening to something. So listen to the only teachings that is directly comes from the Buddha that are, you can tell it's teachings of the Buddha. There is no kind of a doubtful situation. You can tell it is pure Dharma. So any other influences, you're going to not positive for you, but negative for you. So impediment of listening to bad friends. 19 impediments is studying wrong doctrine. Yeah, people are reading materials that are contradictory to the Dharma. They are not really gelling well, and while it may be sometimes interest to read some things, but once you've grown up your life, you have enough things to do, and you shouldn't just bombard with all kinds of wrong different doctrines to the extent of losing the way of the Dharma, the way of the kindness, the way of non-violence and selflessness and right view. So any doctrine that says there is no life after death, there is no karma, there's only one life, and that sort of thing. A lot of people are promoting this kind of simplistic, shallow spiritual, pseudo-spiritual teaching that doesn't have any authenticity in the actual teachings of the lineage-wise, history-wise at all. So therefore, one's effort would be greatly disturbed by one's exposure to these kind of influences. And then the 20th impediment is the wrong views, the wrong views. Of course, so these 20 impediments is to do with how good you become in terms of adopting the remedies to these impediments, how good you become in renouncing or detecting these impediments, and how you become good at renouncing. The description of these 20 impediments means that you have to renounce whatever are the obstacles, and that enables you to exercising restraint that you have to drop some existing habits or associate, or how you manage time, or how you waste your energy, or how you waste your time, or whatever it is. You need to definitely know. For instance, if you don't go out late, don't go out late at all. Just make a good habit. Decide you don't do late night go out. If you do, short and sweet for whatever purpose it is, to give some, support or show up and whatever, but go quickly, so that you are actually early and safely at home and your practice, or in bed, so that you rise early and do your practice. This kind of, so that you are actually not spending time talking too much, so much so you lost the track of time. You know exactly when is when and how much is too much. That kind of self-discipline is now right effort. if a person like this, the small young monks or lamas or reincarnated tulkus at monasteries, they have these half a dozen monks. They're always telling you when to do, what to do, and they basically got any. They are told what to do. But here in the West, that's not possible. Nobody will do that. There won't be any teacher who will do that kind of work. It's all assignment. If you did your work, you can show that you did the work, and then they will tell you from the marking, which if you marks you get from you do, whether you have put the right effort into your study or not. Likewise, Dharma is no different from really discipline, self-discipline. Self-disciplined people actually rise early, go to bed late, and really study when it's really many people doing this and that, but these people don't go any of that. Why? They really focus their energy to whatever they have to do. So in the end, this right effort is for right effort enables oneself to become free from the falling into the extremes of not becoming careless or lazy, ignorant or disrespectful to the disciplines. When one is neither careless, nor disrespectful, nor ignorant, nor excessive afflictions, when these four impediments, overall impediment doesn't take onto you, then you will find the right effort. Your energy level is light, and you don't feel exhausted and tired and not enough time. You will have ample time because you're not occupying and taking up too many commitment. Those which you take commitment are really useful things, and you are very sharp and effective for what you do, but you don't have to do lots of hours to the extent of tiring and wearing out yourself. So you're actually good at time management. As a result of that, the practitioner who succeed to renounce the what one has to drop, and who's successful to adopt what one has to practice, they actually have this very lightness, joy, the kind of joy that doesn't come from anywhere, gaining any possessions or status or promotions or wealth or friendship. They can never bring this kind of joy. So there's a lot of joy in you, joy in understanding the Dharma and practicing the right thought and seeing good in everyone. Therefore, the result of for right effort is this lightheartedness and joyfulness, because it's all called right effort. Right effort is often called joyous effort. It has to be done joyously, willingly, and happily. And so that you don't have any grievances or resentment that you did this. I did this all mantra, I did this all practice, and then expecting some rewards, worldly mundane reward in this or some form or another. So that is a wrong effort. They have been expecting that kind of spiritual materialism from their very otherwise genuine practice, but their intention was to seeking some rewards and benefit in this life or this body or within this life. So as a Mahayana practitioner, you should not do it for me in this life or this body, but for the sake of others in future life and on my mind stream. When your focus is on this, then you're right effort. Then you have a lot of joy in heavy lifting. The task you have to do may be demanding, but you have to do with such joyfulness, such a willingness. And that shows the right effort is actually giving you the sign of the, what do you call, intermediate path of accumulation. Intermediate path of accumulation gives you the power, almost like your quality and I would say the quality of your meditation is always good. Even difficulties you're going through, there's nothing that is difficult. The difficult that was challenging but useful, because it helps you to drop your fixation and attachment, and that those difficulties actually became a great transformative period. They say the fools complain about difficulties, wise don't. But you become wise when your difficulties become the actual pointer, what you need to surmount within yourself. So this means you are actually dropping those very neuroses or obstacles or karmic habits that you normally could not adopt, renounce, or eradicate by those difficulties. So then you will see, how do you know you're practicing right effort? There's a lot of joy in you. And you have certain few virtuous conduct, such as your view or attitudes or contentment or gratitude. Incredible amount is increasing in you. Your faith in the Dharma, your kindness towards others overwhelms you, that you no longer have ill will towards others, but it's all filled with loving kindness. So you can see the non-existing virtues now existing. Yeah? Existing non-virtues such as ill will, judgment, sadness, poor meanness, and ill, all gone. They hardly seem to be there. There's still some remnants would be there, it's just some negative things instigate. I'm sure. You're still not perfectly enlightened, you're still only an intermediate path of accumulation. And so you will actually see the symptoms or signs, and there are omens that your senses are much, or your sharp senses are sharper. You don't forget, because you remember what's the right effort. So when we have right mindfulness, then you have the right effort. Combination, non-forgetfulness. You don't forget the right effort in relation to rejecting the wrong views and antithesis of the four right efforts. Carelessness, disrespectfulness, ignorance, and excessive affliction. All of these things are unforgettingly rejected. And you have basically quashed them. And there's opposite of that is the more manifestly qualities of the antidotes. Those qualities are antidotes: joy, humility, gratitude, contentment, lack of ill will. These are the flavors you will relish. Nobody can upset you. Whatever childish thing they do, you see them as your past. I too used to be in that shoes. And so instead of judging, incredible loving kindness radiate from you because you understand. Because you know the right effort, not to judge, but instead radiate compassion to suffering sentient beings. And when you see the rise and increasing features of the virtue in you, you could see this is accumulation. This didn't exist before. It was totally empty down at the bottom of the pot. Now it's slowly filling up, and you could almost see that it will be filled to the brim. You can see, you can forecast the gradual increasement of your virtue and your qualities, and therefore total eradication of the opposite. Then your joy and faith in the Dharma, the right. Previously, faith in the Dharma is Buddha is always Buddha. You have to bow down. Now, no matter where you are in the desolate places, the Buddha is always right before you. Dharma is talking to you right there. So you don't need figures to arouse your faith. You need your mind to remember the teachings, which you have. You got the mind with you. Yeah? That the suchness of Dharma is in your hand. Dharma is called. Dharma means reliable to hold on to. It's like a life, what do you call? Like a raft in the ocean. Everywhere the water is so turbulent, but you're holding on to the raft. That is only the Dharma. Your right effort has not gone astray. You're holding the Dharma, which is your mind, and directing it for what it is to be adopted, for what is to be dropped. There is so much joy and delight in this virtue. He could see the small from middling, from great. Even the virtues that he can see. Previously it's just a small, maybe previously non-existing virtue, now small. Previously small, but now middling. Now middling, but will be soon great. An amazing sense of optimism. So small virtue that didn't exist delights him. Middling virtue that is increasing from small delights him. Great virtue that he doesn't exist now still is within his reach. That's what keeps him delighted. And those that he did generate, he will not forget. Because that's one of the things to adopt. You always remember the kindness or virtues. Those that are not non-existing virtue, you deliberately make sure they are introduced and planted, and then you look after them, weed them, and water them, so to speak, and then you slowly promote them and make them grow stronger. And those that are grown up, he promotes them further, expand them until it's fully matured. That's what's called right effort is. Right effort has gradation. Not only from one to another, but within itself. You can see. And the delight is incredible. Small delight is what one didn't lose. One was not discourageable by smallness of the delight. Because one is so focused in delighting and relishing the virtue of the practicing virtue, one is not distractible. One is one-pointedly, calmly focusing and fixing your mind on the object of attention. And because of that, the one-pointed concentration meditation becomes a very salient feature of the practice from here onwards. Because now you are about to go into the path of advanced path of accumulation, which is next week's topic. The four legs of miracles. Then you find the legs that you didn't have. Previously, we were crippled without those legs. The sleepiness, the dullness, the agitation, the overexertion, laziness, the forgetfulness, all this impedes. Even though you put all the right effort, but you are so dedicated, but yet as soon as you sit, this whole host of obstacles just come. And most people don't have the remedy for them. They're completely vanquished by these obstacles. So, if you don't have right effort, therefore, there's an uphill battle. So, all the inconceivable qualities of Buddha, all the Tathagatas, came from non-discourageable mind, bodhisattva. The mind has to be unimpedable by these difficulties, not lack of obstacles, but with the obstacles, with the storm, within the storm they develop calmness. They didn't expect calmness as a passive, the absence of activity. It's in the storm they have to develop calmness. So instead of being discouraged by those things, slowly the meditators, he is not alone under the tree. He's now got lots of challenges. He's got much more challenges than he tried to escape from. Previously, he thought he could escape those people or that noisy or those. Now he's got all the inner noisemakers. He has apprehended them in the form of 8 impediments of the meditation. So he become very, very converted in the need to master his calm abiding meditation. There is a perfect renunciation. The 4 renunciations are perfect renunciation. They are not relapsable, you know. If you have perfectly renounced them, there's to do with the outer discipline point of view, meditation point of view, and wisdom point of view, you know. Outwardly, nobody can see anything that you're doing because look that you are a real renunciate type of thing, you know. Maybe you're more contented, maybe you're craving one thing is not that much, maybe you hardly complain to anybody, you hardly say bad things to anybody. Looks like you have become very, very good practitioner. Deep down, meditator has discovered his old maras of the aggregates and the subtle afflictions and ego and all of that. So then the meditator is quiet and reclusive, not because he is reclusive from the other things, but he's got a battle on his hand. And that is conquering the actual, the restlessness, sleepiness, and laziness, and all of that. So this is when the meditator, with his right effort, there is a right effort, there's a conceptual right effort, and the right effort that you know what it is, but then you experience what it is, then you realize what it is. So 3 levels. The previously right effort is if you did this by this time, if you didn't finish this every day, that was the right effort. Now it's not that time filling the timesheet, you know. Everybody can fill the timesheet. Some people just go in the job, fill the timesheet, go home. You can do that. For example, I'm not saying anyone does that, but it's possible. Not that kind of right effort. Not just filling the time, but actually there is a quality in which the person is actually sitting or doing. You know. Incredible shift from the outer form, from inner substance. A lot of people do sadhanas and they get bored and they wish they don't have to do, and then they're happy they're doing these kind of things. That's the level they are at. But those practitioners who have the right effort of renunciation, they are able to do the sadhana and practices with such a understanding. The outer form may change, may not because he or she is try to be lazy, try to avoid things, try to cut short and try to cut corners. Not like that. Right effort has a feeling of amazing sense of fluency and fluidity and pliancy into your physical body. There is physical pliancy and the mental pliancy they call. There's a flexibility of your own. The form, structure, is so that it delivers the contents. Once the contents is comprehended, the structure and form is not important. if the person who's a just new chef, who just barely graduated, he will put the recipes exactly according to the sequence of his class taught, and bring those miserable things, all the weighing machines. So, it's just like the complicated by all these. But the one who's been a master chef for 10, 20 years, he doesn't need any of those. Everything is just a little less. Is usually exactly right. He knows. He just does this, and he never is too much, never too low. Through experience. Through experience. That's just free. There's a whole, what do you call the perfection is through the practice. The person becomes so good at it. So when you're practicing the right effort, there's this kind of enjoyment in what you do. Your energy does not consume you. Energy does replenishes you. It recharges you. Right effort is not tedious. Right effort is almost like speed. The speed and accuracy. You don't have to read word by word. Turn page by page. When you comprehend the meaning and do the meditation, when you're so fluent and familiar with the right effort. Shantideva said this. Once one becomes familiarized, there's nothing that is difficult. So when you're so familiar and so mastered with the right effort, it does not drain your energy or tire your energy. It gives you the energy. It gives you the energy. Insatiable effort, they call it in Shantideva's text, like insatiable effort. Effort that is like that armored right effort, an insatiable effort. At the beginning, you have to wear the armor. Otherwise, you're afraid, But now you don't need to don on the armor. You're insatiable, So the practice of the four right efforts or for perfect renunciation is definitely a practice of a person on the path of middling path of accumulation. You have reasonable understanding and comprehension of the four noble truths, as well as the being able to correct the wrong views, contrary to the four foundation mindfulness. Because you have the foundation mindfulness, now you have feet to stand on. You see the wrong views, and because of that, you are mindful how not to subscribe to any of the wrong views. Because your right effort drops the wrong views, adopts the right views. While we are conventionally in this world, but your mind is not pulled by it down into the world. You are in the mud, but the mud is the one that makes the flower beautiful, in which it grows. The mud doesn't soil the flower. It's a mud in which the flower is beautiful. So your conventional situation in which you have samsaric situation going on, they don't soil you. It is in that muddy place that you actually blossom. When there is a lot of aggression, you have a lot of kindness. There's a lot of grittiness, you have a lot of generosity. Where there's a lot of possessiveness, you have a lot of letting go. Where there's a lot of aggression, that you practice loving kindness. That is right effort is. So it is dropping the antithesis of it and adopting the very thing that flourishes these qualities. So these four right effort or four renunciation becomes indispensable for the people who wanted to do the meditation. And from here onwards, the person is now on advanced path of accumulation. Now, to stepping on the advanced path of accumulation, person has no danger of losing his faith in the refuge or bodhicitta or bodhisattva's vows or anything like that, because he's already intermediate practitioner. So his right effort is there to make sure he does not drop his three types of precepts: prohibitive precepts, prescriptive precepts, and benevolent precepts. Prohibitive are those thou shalt nots. Prescriptives are thou shalts. And benevolent are that all of those thou shalt not and thou shalts, whether it's pratimoksha or bodhisattva, they're all for the benefit of sentient beings, not so that you are pure in your precepts, so that you are doing it solely for the benefit of others intentionally. And so therefore, you can see that three types of these three types of precepts are the way the right effort goes in, and this when the precepts is found fundamentally stable in one's own mind. Of course, it will feature differently to different people's perception. But one's own mind, you still have reasonable confidence in your humble right effort of discipline as far as you go, but whether it's prohibitive or whatever the case might be, and that will show you. That will show you that you do not have this righteousness of how perfect you are. You don't have competitive feeling towards the equals. You don't have arrogance to the junior. You don't have jealousy towards the superiors. In terms of right effort goes. So there is kind of a pure perception, even to those who are junior and lesser than you once sees. I too used to be there not very long time ago, so I have to support them. I should encourage them, give them guidance, encouragement, rather than look upon them with judgment and with arrogance. No competitiveness equals. No competitiveness towards equal. Because the others who are just as similar as we are, they are also in our shoes. So because of that, we rejoice their effort rather than them become a competitor. So there is no. So one is also renouncing the competitiveness and arrogantness, even if one is maintaining right effort. The biggest pitfall of the right effort is thinking I'm perfect. So when one is thinking I'm perfect, that's a flaw that you couldn't recognize. So right effort is actually always see good in even the person who is most junior and who has so much flaws and so much obstacles. You still have lots of kindness towards them. And no competitiveness to the equal, let alone jealousy to the seniors. You rejoice them how much more effort and energy and dedication they may have put to be where they are. I only wish I could put even half an effort of theirs. So that kind of a practice would show there is neither room for complacency, nor for arrogance, nor for competitiveness, let alone self-superiority complex. Then the right effort would enable oneself to tuck away in the cave in meditation to accomplish the practice of calm, abiding meditation, together with special insight. Okay, thank you everyone. That's all we are able to discuss. Thank you. So we do the dedication merits. You might like to send some kind thoughts, wishes to people and places in the world, and show your gratitude to others, and send some positive thoughts to the world that is greatly in strife of conflicts, greed and hatred, and us and them, and right and wrong. Such a incredible cause of sadness and sorrow. May this kind of teaching slowly reach and wake up those beings. Om Badis Mere Mehoga Dadiva Bedzaga Honeza Meale Beredo Bebrande Oshana Badadezene Herenda Mahayana Jija Vadeva Mereda Mehobe Begas Delavas Truhoda Mahayana Jija Kareja Manjushenya Azama Tabarahadilaiwa follow it all the example Rajade Dega de Mere Mede Excellent Body Jida Tebe Vedanaya Danza as Vebo Medengri Freele Vedadi Generan. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, Stefan. Hello, Melinda.